10 people on here. Great. Okay. Guys, do you want to see the food for today? I eat the same thing every day. This is not surprising. So I've got, oh my gosh, it blanks it out. So it's like chicken, rice. I got some glazed carrots in here today. Some lentils. It's massive. I don't think I'm going to eat the whole thing. Okay, we got 44 people on here. Thank you so much to the 68 people on here. Thank you so much. If 68 people can send likes, then we can get this moving. What do I study? Okay, what do I study? I study law at the University of Oxford. Do I cook? Yeah, I cook. Quite often, like just for myself, obvi. Okay. Stetson. University. Intriguing. In Florida. Nice. Is your father around? Yeah, I love my father. It's black. Oh my gosh, okay, we got 250 people on here. Guys, request if you disagree. If you don't have enough people to request, if you don't have enough followers to request, join my Discord. And we can talk there. Thank you so much. If 280 people can send likes, we can make this my main, honestly. Please do enough to make this my main. That would be great, wouldn't it? Okay. Just need this to cool down. Thank you so much. Also, I am live on YouTube. One person's watching on YouTube. Very cool. Thank you to the one person. Oh, yeah, I did hear about the guy going for literally anyone else running for president. That was cool. Thank you so much to people sending likes. Thank you so much to people sharing. If you can share it with the people that typically follow me, that would be great. Oh, hilarious. Oops. Am I British? Yeah, I'm British. No, I'm not British. I live in England, though. Guys, trans people have gone invisible again. They don't exist. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Because it was Trans Day Visibility. Anyway. I can't see my sibling. Israel should be wiped out. Israel, in its current constitutional form, doesn't have the right to exist. It should change its constitution, though. I haven't followed what's happened with Candace Owens. Okay. Thank you to people sending guest requests. If you disagree with this, send a guest request. Follow me. Like this up. Thank you so much. Forensic nurse person. Let's see what you have to say. Hello? If you can't get up, I'll follow you back. It's really annoying for me because I'd like to speak to you. If Israel can't stand on its own feet, try. You know? Let's see. Oh, he reached out to you. That's cool. She said that the Palestinians are being treated too harshly, that they got too beat off the wire. Yeah, I think... I haven't actually watched it. Candace Owens on Daily Wire Beef. Thank you, Forensic Nurse, yeah. Through the Watch Pro. Ben Shapiro's website after anti-Semitic commentary. What did she say, though? Then she was a right-wing pundit. Then she started promoting ideas about Jewish people drinking Christians' blood. Intriguing. Hello.
Hey, good morning in England from Southwest Florida. How are you?
Doing well. What did you send a guest request to disagree with?
Oh, no, sorry. You know what? I didn't see it because your head was kind of in the way of disagreeing. I didn't see, the guest request disagree. I'm so sorry. No, I actually agree with everything you say. I just now discovered your content, so FYP is doing its job.
Very good.
Just to let you know. But, yeah, I'm probably as staunch opposite politically, maybe as anybody could be from you, but I am a Christian conservative who stands with Palestine. Do not ask if I have no friends in my life right now. Zero, none. And that's literally just because I've worked in this, industry as a contractor in war-torn areas. And Jacob Flickinger was actually one of the aid workers that was unalived this week that worked for World Central Kitchen. And I am in Fort Myers. We took a direct hit from Hurricane Ian. So Jacob was actually here working as an aid worker during Hurricane Ian. So this was a huge loss to South Florida, Southwest Florida. He lived in Miami. He was a dual citizen of Canada and the United States. And I don't think there's ever been anything that made me question my faith as much as what's going on in this conflict. So I think if anything good came out of it, it's that Christians are waking up to what's going on. And young folks are actually able to see real time what those of us who are older, I'm a Gen Xer, I'm 43, what we didn't get to see years ago when we just went all in after 9/11, that we're actually getting to see real time, and young folks are getting to see real time what is actually happening.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And that's really interesting with the Royal Kitchen. I've never had an interaction with them. Thank God, obviously, because that means I'm in a disaster. Oh no, she's going in and out. I don't know if she can hear me. You there, Queen?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. What are those birds? Is that on my side? Anyway. Are those birds on your side?
Yeah, they're on my side.
Oh, wild. Okay. But you said you were a Christian conservative.
Yes.
Great. I mean, I don't necessarily have qualms with Christians unless they think they can prove it to me. But I do have lots of topics up here. What does it mean that why do you consider yourself a conservative? Like, what is it, just a social identity more so, or what ideas do you have that you would consider conservative?
Well, that's where my and it's never too late for your beliefs to be challenged. So obviously I grew up in a military family and also of course served as a contractor. I lived in New Zealand for 4 years. So I was able to kind of rest some ideas there as well, but I'm very in the middle. Pro-choice to a certain extent. Obviously, I have issues there with, especially being a nurse, with certain timelines in pregnancy. But obviously, every patient is different, and I've never discriminated against a patient for their right to choose, and I've exercised my right to choose before, so I can't sit there and say, hey, I'm pro this or that. But we also know that if we've made mistakes in our lives, it's never too late to admit that. I feel like I made a mistake, but I don't ostracize those who have made that choice. But for me also, I believe in a certain form of capitalism, but I don't believe in the current model of capitalism that we have now. Obviously, I think APAC should be defunded.
Yeah.
I think it's a foreign agent that should be registered as a foreign agent. And ask me if I believed that before all of this happened. I did not, because I didn't realize the impact that they were having on our elections. So if you talk to me again in 3 to 6 months, my whole opinion on conservatism may be wiped out. At this point, I'm kind of leaning toward the fact that both, our two-party system has obviously failed. We're one of the sickest developed countries in the world. I think we are the sickest developed country in the world, most sick. And I think that with what's going on with regards to, I'm from the Asheville, North Carolina area, so obviously.
Oh, wild! I'm from Charlotte.
If you know about Asheville, you know that we were gay before people knew what gay was in Asheville. But it's odd that obviously I even know that I have an odd belief system, but systematically either side is. When you grow up in the United States, you're told, stand with this, we stand with this. You hear people from both sides, stating that, obviously Donald Trump look at Mnuchin has already come out and stated that he had these guys that wanted to buy TikTok. We obviously know why, because they run all of our media through BlackRock and Vanguard. And then, of course, you have Mark Zuckerberg. Enough said there. And so I think we're starting to see the Judases, on both sides, but I feel like our system is just totally built upon um, a, a an ideology of capitalism that I think may have started out without this intention, but now that it's so deeply rooted in who we are as Americans and as Americans who stand with this, I think that that's where we're going to see our downfall, where we have seen our downfall. I mean, our country is in complete decline, and for people who think that that's because of our current administration or last administration, no, this has been hundreds of years in the making with this stuff that's going on in the Middle East. And most people that have the opinion that they dehumanize Palestinians and stuff like that, obviously have never looked at the map in the back of their Bible, because they don't understand how close all of that stuff is to one another, or the fact that Jerusalem was bombed on Christmas Day.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm just gonna, sorry. What I'm intrigued by though is you still consider yourself a conservative, and it seems like, just like from the words, like I'm making guesses about kind of where you come from and like what type of media you're consuming or what kind of ideas you're circling. But talking about BlackRock Vanguard controlling the media, Mark Zuckerberg itself being a thing, it seems like we're focusing on I don't know, it's semi-conspiratorial, but why do you consider yourself like a conservative? Like, agreeing with, like, liberals agree with capitalism. Liberals can have a moderated stance on abortion. Like Dems do have a moderated stance on abortion. And liberals famously agree with capitalism. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued what you mean by that, and especially like when you go into like there are issues with our system. What do you like think? What do you think we should do about it?
Obviously, politically, I think the system of our capitalism that we have here needs to, have some term limits and whatnot, to prevent the insider trading that's going on, that are making the politicians who are taking AIPAC's money rich and reelected every single, like Lindsey Graham, for instance.
Term limits and reducing lobbying. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think probably my conservatism, sorry, is more probably based on the fact that I'm a Christian, in all honesty.
Okay.
In all honesty, I really feel like that's what it is, because I don't have, the issues with LGBT or anything else. I think it's more just the right to choose and the right to live at what stage in the pregnancy and for what reason is really my only, those are my two hang-ups with where I stand politically. But I would probably consider myself, obviously, in the legal profession, a liberal, because I think most people get that wrong. They don't understand that being liberal, like, for instance, our Supreme Court justices, it is imperative that those people are liberal without bias, and that's what it means. But a lot of people get that mistaken with whether or not you're left or right, and obviously liberalism has nothing to do with that. That just means that you focus on the Constitution, what the right of the law is, and whether or not that the Constitution is right pertaining to whatever case that you're looking at. But, law school has definitely changed my views on the, of course, the penal system in our country, private equity, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of torn apart and rebuilt over these last 2 years, if that makes any sense with regards to that.
No, that's fair. I mean, I'm in law school as well. Currently second year of law school. Over in the UK though. But
yeah, you're at Oxford, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. Let's dive into something. Generally, these discussions look a lot more like we disagree about stuff. So let's dive into something maybe we do disagree. I'm not terribly compelled that like the conservative side is the Christian side. Why do you put those two together? Is it really just the abortion stuff? Or like, is there something beyond it that you think like Christians and like Christianity and conservatism go together? Also, 1 second, just to the comments. Yes, intention matters ethically. No, I don't disregard it. If you have a debate, come debate me, bro. Like, I'm sure I'm at. Anyway.
Absolutely. And I think my equating that with Christianity with conservatism has a lot more to do with ideologies that were placed and instilled in me, all through my life. Like I said, my beliefs obviously have changed, especially in the last 6 months, but the last 2 years, looking at our penal system, because I didn't go into this for criminal defense. I went into it to help prevent nurses like Redonda Vaught. I don't know if you know what happened with her at Vanderbilt Hospital, but preventing nurses from being charged with homicide over med errors. And I wanted to get into this business to help nurses, and ended up with a passion for criminal defense. Mm-hmm. Don't ask how. It happens. You intentionally go into law school with with ideologies, with things that you were instilled with. But that's why I think conservatism with Christianity, although I think that Christianity has been perverted to a point that those people are so misunderstanding of the word. Because if you are monotheistic and you do believe that there's a God, I'm not quite sure how you could believe that there's a God that would state that a Palestinian child was worth less than an American child, if that makes sense. Like, that has totally rocked me to the core. And I think it's just ideology that put me into that mode, if that makes sense. That I for years, you're instilled that you're red, you're Christian, you're, conservative, whatever. But I think that obviously as time has gone on, my belief in a monotheistic God means that, when God said everyone was created equal, he didn't mean that there would be an amendment to the Bible later on for your convenience because you didn't agree with, a resistance. And a lot of people get that confused too. And I think that that is where I staunchly disagree with conservatives on most everything, is resistance. You do have the right to resist. So you can, in one sentence, say that you're a patriot and you're standing up to the system, but then point the finger at somebody for standing up to a system that has oppressed them for hundreds of years. You see?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, we agree on the Palestine stuff. Absolutely. I'm really searching for like maybe where we diverge in anything that would spark an interesting conversation. What specifically is, so like the current Democratic position is to return to Roe v. Wade position, which is free and accessible health, abortion, at least up until the first trimester. Following first trimester, some restrictions on it, but no total ban. And then third trimester, total ban on all except for medical exemptions as administered by the states. So, where's it?
And that's where we do agree. I actually agree to the T with that on as far as pro-choice goes. And I do believe that you should be provided with, and not just, abortion care in the first trimester, but, across the board. I think it's your right being born in such a wealthy country, especially, that you should have health care. It's just a basic human right. And that's where I feel like, my beliefs with probably go a little left on that, just because after working in the healthcare system as well, that does a lot to help you understand, like, say if you come in and your doctor states that you need a medication and they've had some type of success with that medication treating a certain condition, but the insurance company says, no, we're not going to cover that because we don't deem that necessary. And that comes from a politician. That doesn't come from, a medical standpoint. So they have no medical expertise and they're telling you something like this. I think that falls into the right to the doctors as of Roe v. Wade, because, Roe v. Wade was originally designed to protect the practitioners who were performing the abortions rather than the people getting them. Mm-hmm. I think that we didn't look at the side of RVW that should have protected doctors in the event that they wanted to treat as they saw fit, if that makes sense. So I agree with you there. As far as like I think the only thing that we may have different between us, which is crazy, is the fact that, and I have a ton of atheist friends, but is just our religious basis. But I also believe in a separation of church and state. So, like, I don't believe it has a place in our in our system at all. But I do believe that as far as, I was one of these people who believed that we had the right to, like with 9/11, I agreed in protecting us from this, that, and the third, until I realized what was actually happening, that people's, not just their rights were being exploited, but the fact that their minerals and precious metals were, being exploited. The one thing we may not agree on is, as far as like, I do feel like the current trans movement infringes a little bit on natural born women's rights, just because it just overshadows what being a woman is. I think making light of women's biology sometimes with what we have to go through in regards to our hormones is like like awful.
Okay, let's talk about that. That's interesting. What like instances are you talking about? Like what was said and about what?
So when you have like your mainstream creators like Dylan Mulvaney basically talking about being a female is popping a pill and putting on a short skirt, and
Did she say that?
Yeah, like I don't know if you've listened to that new song.
I've listened to it extensively. I'm famously a big fan of it.
Yeah.
Let's pull up the lyrics.
Yeah.
Days
and look at the
of...
chorus. It's mainly the chorus.
Okay. Girlhood song. Do they have lyrics up on like Lyric Genius? Yay. Okay. All right. We're gonna give a. So the pre-chorus is what you're talking about, is because that's the bit on that you've probably seen on TikTok. Monday can't get out of bed. Tuesday morning pick up meds. Wednesday retail therapy. Cash or credit? I say yes. Thursday had a walk of shame. Didn't even know his name. Wednesdays are for kissing friends. Friday night I'll overspend. Saturday we flirt for drinks. Playing Winkman to our twinks. Sunday the Twilight soundtrack. Cue my breakdown in the bath. So she's talking about her week, and she's doing hot girl shit, quote unquote hot girl shit. So your issue is that she's using this very internet term, hot girl shit, which, like, what else, like, people have, like, used this term. Like, if I just look up hot girl shit,
Right.
Let's look it up on, let's r/ask women.
And can you see where, as a biological female, for just a moment, how those terms may make us feel objectified? Because imagine this. Imagine, like, as silly as this is, imagine somebody like Donald Trump Jr. singing this song. Everybody would take it from the standpoint that it objectified women, and they would be very offended by it. I would.
So if you look at the whole entire song, right, in context, the pre-chorus, mom brought me into the world, sister taught me how to girl, best friend coached me how to text the boy toy that I'm dating next. Girls who helped show me the way, they're why I'm an it girl today. That seems, hear me out, like a large, expressive, and clear thank you to all of primarily the cis women in her world that taught her about girlhood and engaged in her experiences of girlhood. And then she's talking about some of the, quote, hot girl shit that she did. Also, just for example, like I literally just pulled up Reddit. What's your definition of hot girl shit? I use the term ironically. A patient coughs in my face, hot girl shit. Take out the trash to the curb, hot girl shit. Fondling my toddler's clothes, folding my toddler's clothes, hot girl shit. Right? To me, hot girl shit is anything that makes you confident or good. Dressing nice, eating well, enjoying a hobby, buying new clothes, hanging out with friends. Right? So what does Dylan say? Cash or credit, I say yes. Retail therapy, walk of shame, right? Seeing people, ha ha ha. Kissing friends, hanging out with friends, flirt for drinks, playing wingman to our twinks. So literally, like, just the most basic example I could bring up. I'll pull up the TikTok hashtag hot girl shit as well. It's all cis women talking about like silly little things that aren't necessarily even positive, right? Like they're not necessarily positive things. They are just things that they're doing that they're like, ha ha, hot girl shit. So this is where we see why I think this got the negative reaction was because it was a trans woman, and they have a lot against Dylan Mulvaney. I mean, bunch of cis women have said, "Oh, ha ha, hot girl shit." A patient coughs in my face, hot girl shit. Is that really the experience of femaleness that you're talking about? No, no one said that because they got what they're saying because it's a meme. I don't like. Do you see what I mean? This looks a lot like a double standard.
It's interesting, like, and also remember that you are coming from a standpoint of not exact, like our biology is different. So as a female who has, like I have polycystic ovaries, and I have very painful menstrual cycles and stuff like that, and have had just a ton of trouble in that department, as have all the women in my family. That's where mine is coming from. And like if you're a nurse, right? So especially if you're in trauma, if somebody comes in, you have to know what hormones they were born with, because there's certain medications, if this makes sense, that I would have to deliver to you.
That's
that
true.
Maybe,
knowing that they're a trans
detrimental
woman
to-
is medically important. That's true.
Right. And it's the whole thing of people not understanding that menstrual cycles, like the actual physical part of it, they don't happen to you. You don't bleed. You know what I'm saying?
I think people know Dylan doesn't have a menstrual cycle.
Right, but what led up to that song, I think a lot of women like me see what we go through, and then to have someone be like, "Oh, I'm having a period," and it's like, "No, you didn't."
I don't think she said that though.
Well, there's a ton of creators that have gone through, like, I'm taking, hormones or hormone blockers, and they're like, I've just had my first period. There was one of them that was talking about having his first period and like documented the whole thing. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah, but like, okay. But like, the thing is you said this led up, like, I get that there's this big set of media that has been put together. And I'm not saying you're part of this, but there are a huge set of transphobes that have put together this set of media specifically targeting Dylan Mulvaney, specifically attacking her because of her being trans. Like, they've been clear about it. So when we're talking about this, it's really important that we're talking about actual things that we can actually point to, of things that actually happened and actually existed, as opposed to how a set of media made you feel. I have no doubt that a lot of people attacking Dylan, saying that she said certain things, or stringing together in likely unrelated ways different things that different trans women have said overall, can make you feel attacked. But it doesn't mean that the actual things and the actual posts that they're actually making in the context that they were from would make you feel that way without the larger narrative that someone else is drawing. So let's try and look into the narrative that, like, you believe, and see if this is a narrative that's things were taken out of context and unduly demonized, or if it is something we should actually be worried about. So, like with Days of Girlhood, when I read this, I don't see anything bad. At the very least, I don't see anything worse than California Girls. California Girls were unforgettable. Daisy Dukes, bikinis on top, sun-kissed skin, so hot will melt your popsicle. Is wearing Daisy Dukes, is wearing bikinis on top really what girls are for? Is that the universal experience of girlhood? California Girls were undeniable. Fine, fresh, fierce. We got it on lock. West Coast represent. Put your hands up. Sex on the beach. I don't mind standing in our stilettos. Do all women wear stilettos? Do they have sex on the beach? Right? Like, no. They're talking about a specific experience, right? And that's somewhat related to some people's experience of girlhood and femininity. Absolutely. Or girls just want to have fun. That's a great example. So
I think that you're putting a really good spin on this. I appreciate, like, you're taking the square of opposition to it, and this is exactly how we should feel. The square of opposition would say, not all S or P are all SP. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're breaking it down to the argument of how it's perceived, and I think that's important. Like, I appreciate that.
Yeah, but you still feel attacked.
Yeah, I do. And that's honestly, though, we don't have the dialogue that you and I are having, in fairness, is not a dialogue that is normally had because of propaganda, to your point, propaganda for anti-certain things. And it's also, I tell you what else kind of feeds it is the fact that if you do try and have dialogue about it, you have to use code words, and we can't fully express ourselves, if that makes sense, to talk about it. So it's very frustrating also to to women, I think, that have the same position, that take the same position that I do, because it feels like our rights to speech about it are not protected because we can't use certain terms that other people can.
So, okay, you're saying
We
it
talk
inhibits
about
your
it.
communication. What concept, like, obviously no slurs, but we're just going to make a safe space here for the next, like, 2 minutes. What words do you feel you cannot use?
Well, if I say them, I get boinked.
Okay.
Like, so, and I would like to respond, I think,
What
just to one
concepts are you
woman.
talking about? Like, what words? Okay, just tell me the words that we tell you to use, right, instead of other words. Like, what
like
concepts are you
trans,
having?
like when I try to talk about that kind of stuff, I've been inked twice for just using that word to try and convey what I was talking about, and have been boinked. Like
Trans?
for a week. Yes. This is my 10th account. Like,
I mean, this is
and
my fifth. So.
I am so you know what it feels like when, and I'm sure you feel the same way. You probably feel like, when people don't agree with you, they go report your live, or whatever. And because I had the position that I took on these situations, and no slurs were conveyed there. And it's the same when you're talking about being pro-Palestine too. I've been inked from those lives too, and been revoked. But it's
Yeah, but that has
frustrating.
nothing to do. That's because TikTok's shit. There's nothing
Right.
to do with like the actual discourse. I mean, it's difficult. Like, if anything, transphobic arguments are like massively pushed on this platform by comparison to trans people and pro-trans voices. Just from my experience of advocacy, like we just get banned longer and harder. But okay, so TikTok has an issue. Okay, with language, that's fine. I mean, I can't solve that. You can't solve that. We just gotta live, But so you're saying it's hard to have these discussions because TikTok it comes after you, attacks you, whatever, right? And people report you. They report everyone always because they're assholes. But like, I really want to get down to like why you feel like you're being attacked. Like Dylan Mulvaney works extraordinarily hard to make sure that actually like girls just want to have fun has no like I love women, like they're so good. It has everything to do with, we're just silly little girls. That seems much more infantilizing than Dylan, who has a very, very mature, like, verse here. Mom brought me into the world, sister taught me how to girl, best friend taught me how to text. Like, this is very, like, genuine and sincere and mature. So I'm just confused why this is angering people. Like, I mean, I know why, but, like...
That's from their perspective, though. Just like my perspective is obviously, different. Their perspective of being female is being
No, they don't
taught
think they're
from
female.
another female, but that's their perspective. They haven't actually lived like the hell that some of us have lived in dealing with our, biology. Because trust me, like,
Wait, but they don't think they're female.
What was that?
They don't think they're female. The song isn't Days of Femaleness. If you ask Dylan point blank, are you a female? I'm pretty sure she'll just say no.
You think?
Yeah. Like 90% of trans people would say that, by and large. Because they adhere to a sex-gender distinction.
I don't know. Like, one of my best friends now for 28 years, she's trans and was, this way back in the 90s when we had to protect her from horrible atrocities. Because back then there was like this whole bashing thing, you know what I'm talking about, like physically, it was terrible. And we knew in high school that Vicky obviously was we knew Vicky was gay, but we knew very early on, I'm talking about like back in 1995, that Vicky was trans. So, but even with having respect to that, I've always referred to her as a woman. She refers to herself as a woman.
Yeah, she is a woman.
Exactly.
But not a female.
She's had the bottom surgery, and there's a lot of reasons, for that. There's a lot of medical contraindications that can happen. So I totally respect why she hasn't, because there's a lot that goes into it. But I don't know. Like, I mean, this brings up a perspective, and that's what it's about, is to question why you feel the way that you feel. I mean, you bring
But
up
this
good
isn't
points.
about my feelings. Like trans people, in fact, do not consider themselves to have switched sex by and large. Some do. Some make that argument. It's called transsexualism. I think there's some compelling arguments for that argument, right? Where like at some point you are sexually different because of the hormones, because of how your organs develop, etc. I don't think Dylan runs that argument, and I don't think I'm running that argument, especially regarding Dylan. So like they don't consider themselves female. Also, not all females have periods. Not all females have, polycystic um, issues. Not all females have these issues. Some females don't have uteruses. Um, so, I mean, there's a huge range of experience of both females, and there's a huge range of experiences with womanhood. And by and large, Dylan doesn't even call herself a woman. She refers to herself as a girl, and she does that actively because she recognizes that she has not experienced being a feminine person for very long, right? And she's still considered, like, this is the whole point of the series, is she's learning how to be a woman, right? Like, I don't know what's, and she's talking about her experience when she's learning how to be a woman. And it's like very, very cognizant of their own naivete. That's why they say it's Days of Girlhood, because they are naive of this experience and they're talking about their experience of it. I don't see how that's confusing. Like, I don't see the issue with this. Is they're not saying, yep, I'm just like y'all. I've gone through all of your same issues, right? They're saying, I've had my own unique experience and I've had my own issues that are different from y'all's. It's like, and here's also my experience of joy that maybe you can relate to. Where's the
Yeah.
issue? I don't
And
see any, there's no issue here, though.
you know what's crazy is, obviously we're having this dialogue, and I understand fully what you're saying. And the comments are so diverse. Like, you can't come on when someone's trying to have a dialogue with someone and understand their point of view and how they're breaking down lyrics, which totally makes sense to me. How you're explaining it, and you can't say, well, this person is ignorant, and then the next, whatever is, no, you're not a female if A, B, and C doesn't exist. I think that's the problem, is that there's such a polarization here. Like, say, so if I felt a certain way about Dylan Mulvaney, which we've had that dialogue about, and I'm asking you questions and you're trying to see where I'm coming from as a female and explaining this stuff to me, but then having people say, oh, well, you're stupid because, you don't just fully agree with us. No, where the stupidity lies is the fact that people are so polarized by either politics or whatever it is, that they can't have common, basic, decent conversations about this stuff without name calling. That is literally the epitome of ignorance, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah,
on
but
both
like
sides.
internet comments are always cunts, aren't they? Like, they always will be. I mean, it's just a true fact of the internet that there always be assholes. That's fine. I mean, people are polarized, yeah. But like that's gonna happen when we have really contentious matters, and also it's a highly polarizing statement to be like trans people are offensive to cis women. So yeah, that's cool. I appreciate that you're here for a good dialogue. But the comments, like for me, I don't read the comments because they're always gonna be assholes. Like a lot.
Well, I just try to like read to kind of see where, what people are understanding about the situation. Because for me, in my experience, when I come through a live where somebody may have something that, a belief that differs from me, which is why you and I are getting into the business that we're getting into, because debate is everything. Sometimes, and this is why I don't understand when people want things to be their way or the highway constantly, why they don't understand that debate is key. Because if we hadn't debated this subject, I wouldn't see what you're talking about. I wouldn't have known, well, this person's not saying this is how it's being broken down, because obviously emotions play into it. Biological emotions also play into it. And it's very important to have the dialogue with other people that may not necessarily agree with you. And that's where I appreciate the fact that you're not just an echo chamber. You're like, I'm breaking this down. This is, where I feel that this comes from. This person isn't claiming to have your same problems or, have experienced things on this level. And it's really important, I think, for people to just look at, I know that they look at what you have written up there and they get in their feels about it, which is why they should come into your live and debate with you. But I appreciate the debate. I appreciate when someone says, well, I get that you feel that way, but here, let's break it down. That makes total sense to me. But like the whole, name calling, whatever, you and I have gotten to the places that we've gotten academically because of our achievements academically. We've earned that. But outside of academia, as we well know, there are subjects that we need to hash out and debate, and this is how things should be done everywhere so that we understand where people are coming from and that they're not tearing each other apart over silly stuff.
I agree. I like debate good.
You do. You're very good. You're
Thank
going to
you.
be very good at.
I appreciate it. Hopefully. I mean, we're both, trying to be attorneys, so it's very relevant, isn't it? Seems to be the job. But, yeah, I mean,
Yep, 2 years in, and I know that you're 2 years in as well.
yeah. Yeah, also, I love this Ultraman Godzilla. You've been spamming my comments. Oh, he blocks, blah, 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 he gets angry. You've been spamming, which is explicitly against my rules in my chat. Um, and I haven't blocked you. I will if you keep spamming, though. Um, yeah, debate good. I just think, like, uh, the outrage against Dylan Mulvaney is, like, silly. Like, I think it's very silly. And I think it's really dangerous. Because it's, like, one of those, like, pushing off points that the alt right will use, like turfs will use to say, "Oh, Dylan Mulvaney, she's a really easy target because she's like really quite uh just kind, genuinely, and it's really easy to attack." Um, so I don't even really budge on that. I think it's really important that we kind of push back against the hate on Dylan Mulvaney. Um, are there any other places in the trans movement that you think are like kind of scary or threatening to your womanhood, or scary or threatening to something you're concerned about? Because I'm intrigued. It sounds like for me, I view it as a pipeline, and I would love to know if you're any further down that pipeline.
Absolutely. I think that we need to normalize having the conversation also with some folks. And now you've provided a lot of context for me. But, obviously prior to this conversation, I still feel this way about, science when we're talking about, uterine transplants and stuff like that. I don't think people understand we're just not there scientifically yet, that if I were to implant my uterus into you, it would set up infection, it would rot you from the inside. We don't have medicine for that. So the argument that babies are going to be had there is a little silly. Right now, where science stands, we're just not there. So that's not a demeaning aspect, because I know, someone had said earlier, imagine her being a nurse to a transgender person. I haven't only been a nurse, but a best friend. And also I've documented a friend of mine's journey, a friend of mine who was married to a female for the last 35 years. They are like parents to me. I've documented the bottom surgery, all of that good stuff. So this is something that I was interested in, and I understand about the feminine products and whatnot but
Haven't uterine implants happened? Are you talking about uterine implants to like males?
Yes. So this
Yeah,
is
yeah,
something
okay, cool. Like
that,
the science, I think like anyone that has any amount of scientific understanding, Oxford University Hospital, slay, would know this. Yeah, this isn't like a political issue. This is like a simple fact of science. You can find me a trans woman that is saying, I think I should get a uterine implant today with current medical science, and I don't care if it like literally kills me and gives me sepsis from the inside. I don't care. Like, okay, find me them, and then this discussion kind of matters. I don't think anyone's scared to have this discussion, because it like literally doesn't matter, because I don't think any trans woman's trying to do this. So sure, uterine implants. Is there any other bits?
and also, like, let me like address something too. So I also understand, and this is something that is really, I think, hard sometimes if you're not in the community, is to understand like the different levels. Like, I understand that someone who identifies as a male but may have been biologically born as a female may have a baby. I get that part, because someone had mentioned that. I understand that part, but also understand if you're not in the community, which I've worked with the community obviously for years and years and years, but there's so many things.
Oh, you're muted, Queen. She's muted. Guys, I am also live on YouTube if you want to go watch me there. And you can follow me here because this is like my 10th account. No, it's my 5th account technically. So if you can send likes and share, we're only at 10K likes, but we have quite a few people. So if y'all could be moving. Host wants to give uterine implants to trans women, and this will give them sepsis and fail. I explicitly said that that was silly to do. That was my whole point. Are you just like simply lacking mentally? To the person that commented that you are dumb. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What's the yes? Other people in the outside the community or without having contact with people inside the community don't get it. Yeah, that's fine. And I think by and large, trans people know this because they interact with people outside the community all the time. You got a call. Oh no. Terrifying. Okay. She can re-request if she'd like to. She's chill. She just got a call, which caused like actual ear pain. Hello, Rolando.
Hey, what's up? So, when you say that, like, so when you say you're pro-LGBT, do you mean like also the government should provide protections for them?
Yeah, they should fall within anti-discrimination laws.
And like what like type of stuff?
Anti-discrimination laws.
So like in the workplace and stuff?
I believe that trans people should be a protected class. I should think gender protections should extend to anti-trans bigotry. I think that sexuality should be a federally protected class, which to my understanding it's not currently. Is sexuality a federally protected sexual orientation? Gender identity and expression or other bases under the law. Intriguing. Yeah, so I wanted to maintain it as a protected class, and I want to enforce it like equal to like civil rights requirements. So require equal service. What?
Services or private?
Equal to the civil rights protections on race.
But don't you think that, a private company has a right to deny?
Do you think they have a right to deny black people?
I mean, I guess not.
Okay. Can we clip that, everyone? Send a guest request if you disagree with me. I'm. It's a good clip.
Sorry, that was interference from the next live down. I don't know how that happened because when I went out and flicked up, there's like people arguing over. I don't even know what the hell they were arguing over, but somebody was like, "Was that Trump?" I was like, "I don't know who the hell it was, but it was annoying and loud."
Yeah, and the person I got on in between that, I don't know what the fuck he was on. A series of mind intoxicating substances.
I liked your response.
Oh, hi, Queen. What?
I think that it's important what your response was to that, though, because in a realistic debate, once you say that one person should be excluded, then obviously your next argument is, okay, well, is it okay for this person to be excluded then? No, it's not. So that's the argument. I'm not quite sure where people fall short on that.
Nah, they're a little dumb. Anyway, are there any other bits that you think we disagree on? Otherwise,
no, I really don't. I thank you for having me today. I followed you. I think that I'm gonna enjoy watching your journey. I think you're gonna be doing really good.
Thanks so much.
At what you're setting out to do. You're an excellent debate person, and you handle yourself very well. You handle yourself with class, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Do you follow my main?
No. I will go to. Is your main listed on this one?
My main's Will's backup with a Z.
Okay.
Will's backup. It's the same thing. Follow Will Spam is my second account, or it's really my third, but my main's my anyway. Yeah, so that's my like other backup. They're all fucking banned right now, which is like or banned from like live access, which is ridiculous. But yeah, all right, Slay. I think I appreciate you coming up. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good talking to you.
Yes. You know what I might do, y'all? Do you think we should stop giving money for the Iron Dome? Yes. I do. Okay. Thank you so much for people sending likes. Thank you so much for people sharing. What is this? Oh, wait. Oh my god, this is so slay. Days of Girlhood Appreciation. Y'all should watch on YouTube, because I'm gonna be... Oh, will I get copy striked here? Dismiss. Okay. And this person. Because I was listening to... Sister taught me how to go. Sister taught me how to text the boy toy that I... Sister taught me how to girl. How to text the boy toy that I'm changing next. I'm a new girl today. Yeah. The person. Hashtag Dylan Mulvaney. Hashtag days of girlhood. Also, guys, I'm gonna be living in DC this summer. Ad suitable. It is. It's content. Yeah. It just might be constructed. Yes, but rating. Public. This guy's such a beta. Yes, but I'm not. Also, these are nonsense words. You're speaking nonsense. You're saying a nonsense thing. Anyway, if you're pro-choice and LGBT, you want to support Israel because it supports most things, come debate me on it. Please. Vegan powerlifter? That's kind of slay, though. I did hate who to vote for. Yes, they both suck. I will be voting for Biden. Sorry. I'm not going to push other people to vote for Biden. Am I still at Oxford? Yes, I am. Thank God. They haven't come after my visa yet, baby. Oh, no. They haven't come after my visa. My visa's not gone. My visa's not dead. What is pinkwashing? Pinkwashing is when bad people, Israel, is like, look at us, we're so good because gay people are allowed to live in our country, even though they don't have equal rights to marriage and adoption, and we don't recognize non-binary people. You know? That's pinkwashing. Is like, yeah, you're doing horrible things. I don't care if you also like kind of like gay people occasionally. They also don't like gays. Like, they are still a homophobic country. And also, you don't get any brownie points for doing the bare minimum. You know? What the fuck? It's non-binary. What do you mean? Send a guest request, please. I just want someone to talk to. Alright. Tap the screen, share it, slay it, share it with people that are otherwise not here. Do I have any live chats? No. Crush us if we don't buy it. I haven't actually looked at Project 225 yet. Oh, if we got a guest request. Hello.
Hey,
Hi, what'd you send a guest request to disagree about?
well, I just wanted to ask one question first and I'll get into everything else. Wouldn't it be an oxymoron to be pro-Palestinian but also pro-LGBT at the same time?
No.
Well, you do understand that there's no gay rights in Palestine, right?
Under a terrorist organization, yeah.
No, it's just
Also, there are. I mean, in the West Bank, there are guarantees for gay protections, but
You do realize that the only part of the West Bank that's guaranteed for gay protection is actually the West part of West Bank 1, which is the controlled by Israel, right?
no, under the PA, there's protections for gay people. Not very good ones, but under the PA, there are protections for gay people. You're incorrect.
You do realize I'm Palestinian. I think I know more about my culture and my area than you do.
I mean, you can know more and still be wrong. So
under
protections
Islam, you're not allowed to be gay.
for there exists protection for LGBT in PA controlled areas. The reason they were is because they were a UN in PA, Palestinian Authority. But also, even if they were like the worst to gay people, it doesn't justify a genocide against those peoples.
Okay, then that's the next one I'm gonna get to. There is no genocide against my people. If
Are you
actually look
Palestinian?
at
Where in Palestine are you from? Or where in Palestine do you claim?
Gaza,
What?
Gaza. I live out
Oh,
by the
great. Where do
beach
you live now?
in America
You live in America. When did your family come to America?
when I was 2.
From Gaza?
Yeah, back in 1991.
Okay, fascinating. And you consider yourself Palestinian. Great. So you're talking about LGBTQ equality. Do you believe that you deserve to die because people like you are homophobic?
No, because
Okay,
I'm not
exactly. So the fact that
homophobic, so-
some Palestinians and the Palestinians who just happen to be in power in Gaza or in portions of the West Bank, as you claim, which is not really true, the PA comparatively has quite a few protections. The fact that some Palestinians, and just so happens the Palestinians who have power, are homophobic or put homophobic laws in place does not justify killing or any type of harm against them or me lacking support for the human rights. When I say I'm against Israel, first of all, I never said I was pro-Palestinian, right? What I said was wanted to stop the funding of Israel.
Okay, fair enough.
Right. You assumed something. And even if I did say I was pro-Palestinian, what I would mean is that I support Palestinian human rights. And that's against all oppressors, right? Israel, terrorists in charge that were put in place by or funded by Israel. But like we can do analysis, but even so, it's very clear that a current regime being homophobic doesn't mean that I don't support the people under that regime. Do you see the issue with that logic?
Yeah, well, the issue with the logic is it's not the regime; it's actually the religion. Under Islam, you actually can't be gay. Islam teaches you.
But under strict readings of Judaism, the same thing is true. That's why gay marriage is not recognized under the religious.
That's actually a lie. There's a huge gay community.
No, there is a large gay community in Israel, but under a strict reading of Judaism. Also, not all Palestinians are Muslim, right? There are Christian Palestinians. There were quite a lot of Jewish Palestinians. There are now still a few Jewish Palestinians in certain parts of the West Bank that are not Israel controlled. But no. Tell me honestly, on an orthodox reading of Judaism, is homosexuality allowed? Is it considered taboo?
I don't know the religion completely.
Okay, why are you talking? Wait, but the thing is, like, you're talking about this as if Islam's the only religion that has an issue with gay people. On a strict reading, a huge amount of Orthodox Jews.
They're the only one who still practice unaliving of the homosexuals.
That's just not. So first of all, not true, right?
That actually is true.
That is. Muslims are not the only ones that unalive homosexuals. Right, there have been unaliving homosexuals by Hindus. There have been unaliving by homosexuals by Buddhists. There have been unaliving of homosexuals by extremist Christians. There have been unaliving of homosexuals by extremist tribal groups. This is just not true, right? And second of all, the issue is the religion. If the issue is the Bro. Literally speedrun getting banned. Why? I have no more accounts left. I have no more accounts. These dipshits. At least we got 9 people on YouTube? Hey, YouTube people. Follow me. I hate this. Appeal submitted. Okay, appeal submitted. Oh my god. Next account, I don't have another account. I have wheels.spam, which will get back live access. When? The 9th. I have Will's.main. I have Will's backup. 16 people watching. Oh, hey, people on YouTube. Very cool. It'll get back live access on the 8th. And this, Will's.spam, would get back live access on the 12th. Unless this appeal goes through. Please appeal. Please, please, please. Appeal not approved. Great. Thank you. I'm sure they did an in-depth appeal in the 2 seconds that they did it. Great. Really good work, everyone. They can go fuck themselves. That's so annoying. So annoying. Okay, I can't go live on this account. I have another account. I could go on live on Wills.personal, but I don't really want to. I was having a great debate. That was fun. Should I go on live on Wills.new? Could I join Jamal's live on Wills.new?
Cool of healing.
Let's
and
talk
even
to Jamal.
in prophecy, speaking in tongues. I believe in all that. The gifts of the Spirit, as written in Corinthians. So I don't know what you're talking about, my friend.
I'm live on Wills.new, by the way. Yellow.
Oh, it's Will,
Oh my
the
goodness.
agnostic atheist, who think it's okay to engage in perversions. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Jamal?
Did you say your prayers today?
What prayers, bro? What, to the Clinton Foundation with, I don't know, sheep's blood?
No, prayers to your holy maker, who made you in his image, who loves you and cares about you so much that he sent his only begotten son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for your sins. That maker.
Holy make her?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Which one are you talking about? The Jesus?
I'm talking about the God of the Bible, the triune God, the Father, the Son,
What,
and the
Yeshua?
Holy Spirit. Yeah, Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach.
Yeshua, the one the one who's, it's a sin to say his name. Great. So I'm intrigued. You have an issue with psychics, channelers, acupuncture, scrying, muscle testing, astral projection, spirit guides, numerology, witchcraft, crystal work, drugs, energy healing.
It's a...
No, I know. That's why I didn't say it that way.
Okay.
Ghost hunting, new age meditation, palm reading, binaural beats, etc., etc. Demonic? Question mark? Okay, fascinating. I mean, I don't love any of these things either, so we may agree.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, what is your zodiac sign though, Jamal?
I'm not. My sign is the cross. I'll just leave it at that.
What month were you born though?
I'm not gonna give you that.
Classic Virgo. What a classic
Okay.
Virgo. Classic Aries energy.
No. Don't tell me you actually believe in that stuff.
Classic Aries. Being annoying,
Will-
not engaging in any conversation. Classic Pisces.
Okay, so do you have any questions, like legitimate questions?
Why are you still speaking, Jamal? I've actually whooped you so many times in debate. Like I've actually destroyed you so many times in debate. I don't know why you're still speaking. Jamal, do you still think homosexuality is immoral?
Does the Bible think so? Yes.
Where?
And I'll leave it at that.
Where does the
1
Bible?
Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9 through 11. The Greek word is
Okay, 1 second.
arsenokoites.
Let's start
And when
one
you look
by
up
one.
the- hold
One
on,
by
hold
one.
on. You asked me a question that I'm
We'll
answering.
start with one by
When
one.
you look
1
up the-
Corinthians.
When you look up the Greek word,
1
and,
Corinthians.
1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9 through 11. And the Greek
Chapter
word is
6,
arsenokoites.
verse-
And when you look up that word in the Greek Thayer's lexicon and in Strong's Greek Concordance, it does read how it's translated. So it's accurately translated. So don't say it's man with boy. Don't say that, okay? Because the Greek word means man with man. So yes, the Bible does condemn it.
What was
Sorry,
it?
Will. If you're involved in that, if I were you, I would repent and turn to Jesus. He loves you. He cares about you so much.
I don't remember how.
And he can
How do
deliver
you spell
you. He can deliver you from
arsenokoite?
that.
Do you know how to spell arsenokoite?
No, I don't.
So you know the
But you
Greek
can-
translation of this word, but you don't know how to spell it.
Okay, let me help you out. Let me Google it. Bible study with Will. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Okay, wait, there we are. JSTOR. Let's look at what the academics say. So this was an article published in 1968. Can arsena corte be translated to homosexuals? Recent article has challenged the content of arsena corte, denotes male agents, male prostitutes seems to be the more accurate understanding. Male homosexuality. Oh no, that's my friend.
Yeah, see?
No. Sorry,
Okay.
I was accidentally opening something on my computer that I shouldn't.
No, you accidentally
No, I
read
wasn't.
aloud
I
something
mean,
that
my
goes
live
against
is available.
your
I'll continue
worldview.
reading. Male homosexuality behavior, the homoerotic vice, which Jews regarded a single token of pagan Greek depravity. And finally, is titled homosexuals or prostitutes, the meaning arsena corte. Fascinating. Let's see if I can get this on. Let me see if I can read this full article. Should I do this? No, I'm not going to pirate it on live, lol. Okay, so what translation did you provide for arsena corte? What was your
Doesn't matter.
citation?
It's in the Greek manuscripts. Doesn't matter.
No. What citation did you provide for your definition of arsena corte?
So you can look at the Thayer's Greek lexicon and Strong's Greek concordance.
Greek lexicon. Okay, cool. Translation for arsena corte. Is the Thayer's Greek lexicon available online?
Yeah, you can go to BibleHub.com.
Wait, but is that a direct?
I mean, it references it.
But can we check that reference?
Like the direct reference? I don't know.
So
Let me
you
see if I
cited
can
something
try-
you don't even know if it's like actually accurate?
Well, why would they lie?
I mean, because they have, so let's look at who Bible Hub is run by. Like, they have an interest in BibleHub.com. BibleHub.com. Let's see what they are. Let's see what they actually are, because I think they're a Christian organization, right? They're not like an independent. I'm gonna look at what the academics say the translation of arsena corte should be. Arsena corte translation.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can like download it somewhere for free, like a PDF of the
Of the whole entire
the
lexicon?
lexicon.
No, I don't think so. Translation. Okay, let's just try and get any academia up here. Okay, let's look at what JSTOR has to say here. So here's one. Yeah, this is pointing to the same thing. Okay, I'm just going to steal it. Is this the full? Can I read it? Oh my goodness. So
Listen, Will, it's like it's fine that you're doing some research about this, but
Don't you want me to read the Bible?
It is what it is, man.
Don't you want me to read the Bible?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Isn't this like your whole entire point?
Get the word of God in your heart, man.
Okay, so
That's
this
good.
concludes. Okay. This is that a academic, Peterson, says that it relates to homosexuals as it relates to Greek prostitutes. So they were primarily referring to the reason he imported a Greek word into what was otherwise an Aramaic translation, I believe, originally. So it was a made-up Greek word that I believe was whoever's writing in Corinthians basically added. Arsena corte wasn't really used to denote this ideology before. Was because
Come on,
he was
bro.
he made up Arsena corte.
This is a
Arsena corte Arsena corte is a portmanteau of two different Greek words. It wasn't used to reference anything really prior to the Bible.
man with man. Okay, come on. This is
but there was a reason he used this word rather than other words that were used to reference homosexual behavior at the time. So there's a huge amount of biblical analysis on this, and this is why there's a huge amount of debate over it. Is because there were a bunch of words that they wait.
Well,
what?
Well, the debate's only happening in like liberal, leftist, revisionist, circles, right? Like, we know that it's man with man. It's
You realize
very
it
clear.
wasn't translated as homosexual for quite a while, right? Like,
Well, but the Greek word.
no, I know,
means-
but you're saying as if this is like some modern issue where we're debating the translation. Yeah, we're only debating the translation because it wasn't translated that way for a huge amount of Christian history.
No, even from like the early church, they condemned this.
But
this
our
act.
Senecoite was not translated in the way that you're suggesting, right? Until the 1900s.
Okay. Read the King James. Let's read the King James
When was-
Bible.
wait, the
right?
King-
Because the
King
King
James-
James Bible was translated way prior to 1960s, right? So let me
The
read
King James
KJV
Bible is one of the
translation.
least respected Bibles, like in terms of translation. It is. I mean, it's explicitly.
I mean,
made.
it's not perfect. It's not a perfect
No, it's a shit
translation, but it is a
translation.
good translation.
It's a shit translation academically. I mean, the academics have consistent. If we want to talk in terms of academic reference, it's horrendously translated.
So how the King James translates it, they translate it as nor abusers of themselves with mankind. So I
So
think
you're wrong.
That's pretty
So it
clear
wasn't
there.
that wasn't translated as homosexuals. Does
Okay,
abusers of themselves with mankind look like
mankind.
homosexuals?
What do you think that means?
It's not. Well, I don't have to import meaning to it. It's your book. Abusers of themselves of mankind doesn't immediately conjure to my mind homosexuality. Does it you?
But it's listed after those who are like nor effeminate nor abusers of themselves with mankind.
Nor idolaters or adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortionists. This, if we look at the context of our Senecoite, looks right like it would be talking about what we think it was talking about, which was Greek homosexual behavior with prostitution and
I heard
primarily
this all the
children.
time.
So just genuinely, I need to know that like you're not like an orange cat that you have like more than two neurons to put together. When you read abusers of themselves with mankind, if you took it out of context, okay,
Sure, okay,
if you just
all right.
read that word, does that look
Well-
like homosexuality?
Well, listen.
Answer
friend.
Jamal. Can you answer my question?
Well, I'm not a Greek expert. and you're
Jamal,
not a Greek
Jamal,
expert,
though,
right?
you made a
But-
claim and you were wrong. You said
Wrong about what? What
Jamal,
was I
can you
wrong
answer my?
about?
You said the KJV would prove your point. It doesn't.
Well, it reads abusers of themselves with mankind.
Yeah,
I think-
does that look like homosexuals? Answer my
I
question.
think you would
Jamal,
derive
can you answer my
from those
question?
words that it's
Jamal,
meaning-
Jamal, can you answer my question?
Yeah, I think if I would, when I read that, I was like, oh, I know what it means.
Why? Based on what? Based on the actual words or based on what you wanted to read?
Based on the words and the whole context of like the text, you know.
Okay,
It's like,
you think
no,
idolaters?
I
you
know
think
what
that
it's conveying here. I know what it's
because you
conveying
read
here.
you read other translations.
But
But
yeah,
actually, you said that this translation proves your point. So actually, look at this translation.
Okay, listen, Will. All right. Again, you could go to Thayer's Greek lexicon.
No, but you
and it
pointed to the
reads-
KJV. You pointed to the KJV.
Well, I pointed to the KJV because you're saying, well, this word is only translated like how you say it is, like after 1960 or something like that.
After in the 1900s, it was primarily not translated as homosexuals, and then you pointed as a counterpoint.
Okay, so
and
why do you
then
think it's
sorry, no,
translated that way
Jamal,
now?
Jamal,
Wait,
Jamal,
wait,
Jamal,
wait.
Jamal, 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 and then
Why do
you,
think-
Jamal,
why do you think
Jamal,
most-
Jamal,
why do you think
Jamal,
Greek scholars-
Jamal,
wait.
Jamal.
Why do you think Greek
No.
scholars translate it that way? Why do you think so?
So we have recording of what changed in the 1940s. I would put it down primarily to homophobia, but that's
No,
not
okay,
that's
so
not
prove
relevant
that.
to my
Okay,
argument.
what's your-
Jamal,
what is
one
your
second.
proof? What is your
This
proof
is
for
a
that?
waste of my time. It's not core to my argument. You asked me a question, I answered it. My argument, right, is what I'm pointing to here is it just in reality, in the real world of like the things that actually exist, it was not translated that way until the 1940s. And then you, as a counter, pointed to the KJV. You pointed to the KJV, Jamal. Can you admit that if you hadn't read like other translations, if you hadn't been told, right, that what you think the Greek translation is, or what other Greek academics claim to say the correct translation is, right, that you would not read abusers of themselves with mankind as homosexuals? Like, that's obvious. Would you genuinely? Are you telling me with a straight face?
I would have.
Okay, you're just a fucking liar then. There's no arguing. It's just a liar. There's no arguing here. There's no arguing here.
The point is that the Bible does condemn it, right?
There's no arguing here.
We can go to the lexicon to see what this word means, and when you read the definition, it does read how it's translated. So
wait, but you haven't even cited that. You've cited something that cites it.
I cited the Thayer's Greek lexicon.
No, you didn't. You've never read the Thayer's Greek lexicon.
Concordance.
No, you haven't.
I also cited Strong's Concordance.
No, you haven't.
Friend,
no, you haven't.
Well, the Bible condemns it. So just stop. Just stop.
Wait,
just stop
you're losing the.
Stop trying to fight against the Word of God. Accept the Word of God. Repent and turn to Jesus. He could deliver you from your desires.
This?
He can change your heart. He can give you a new heart.
Has this ever worked?
Make you be born again.
This is a waste of time. So first of all, Jamal, you're now running away from an actual argument.
I'm not. You don't have an argument.
Does the KJV?
You really don't. I
Jamal,
already showed you.
Wait, Jamal, I've never actually asked you. You're like 30, aren't you? Jamal, you're like 30, right?
Something like that.
Where about? You're like middle age, 30, 40?
My age is irrelevant.
Clearly. I'm asking that because I want to know how surprised I should be at your behavior.
Listen, Will, I know you like to take shots at me, but that's okay. I forgive you. But listen, man, you still need Jesus. You still need salvation.
But you're not actually engaging in a discussion. So, Jamal, you pointed to the KJV. Obviously, any sane person that speaks English would read the KJV if you just read it in that context and say, yeah, that doesn't clearly look like homosexuals. It just doesn't. Jamal, do you have self-control over your self-speaking? Like, do you have control over, like, when you are making noises out of your mouth? Like, you have self-control. I can be rude, but you know what's ruder is not allowing me to say more than a sentence.
But you're talking like 80% of the time.
I'm not. That's just not true.
It is very true. And
I let you go through your whole bullshit. I let you go through your whole entire like preaching bullshit. Where like I will never agree to your mythos. It's a waste of breath, right? And so is this overall.
Okay, so why are you here then? Like
because I think your mythos is harmful. Right?
No, it's not. My faith is actually a faith of love, right? We preach love. We preach hope.
Are you acting in a loving way right now, Jamal?
I'm loving on you right now by giving you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You're not going to get this on TikTok, my friend. I'm giving you the truth. I'm giving you this to you.
What platform are you on?
I'm on TikTok.
Then we agree. I'm not gonna get nothing but the truth on TikTok.
You're not gonna get this. You're not gonna get this from a non-Christian. The type of truth from a non-Christian. Only Christians. We have the truth because we have Jesus Christ, who is the truth. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father.
Have you ever convinced anyone by saying this? By repeating those words?
I do get private messages all the time.
People from you repeating. They are the truth. They are the light. Blah 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 blah.
Jesus, yeah, John.
Literally, but like literally, no one cares, right? Like you're not going to convince anyone.
You don't care because you have
you're not
going to
convince anyone though. You're not going to win over my heart by repeating empty phrases to me, Jamal. You surely know that.
Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by hearing the word of God. So
Jamal, you surely know.
Will be planted into your heart. And hopefully they'll sprout in the future. Who knows? But Will, listen, I know your life is a dead end without Christ. That's how it is for everyone. Not just you, but for everyone.
Is that a loving thing to say?
Well, that's the truth. And we all need a relationship with God. You need to be reconciled unto God. And only through Jesus Christ, the mediator, the only mediator between man and God, only through Jesus Christ can you have that reconciliation with God. You need to be redeemed, my friends. You need to be forgiven. And only by believing in his shed blood can you be forgiven. He really does care about you.
Do you believe that if a man has sexual relationships with a woman during her menstrual period, they should be cut off from the community?
No, that's under the Mosaic Law. Christians are no longer under the Mosaic Law.
Do you believe God was righteous in setting down the Mosaic laws?
Well, yeah. I mean,
So do you
but the
think it was?
purpose
Do you
of
think
it.
so? Do you think it was right for the Israelites to cut off a man um, who had sexual relationships with a woman from their community? Do you think that was a right thing to do?
Wait, what?
Do
Say that
you
again.
believe that the Hebrews, right, who were bound
Mhm.
by and still are bound by the Mosaic laws, right, the Hebrews who have not accepted the new covenant under Jesus, um, still are bound by the Mosaic laws.
Well, not all
Um,
Hebrews follow their religion.
but I'm asking about the ones that do. So I'm asking about the Hebrews who accepted the old covenant during their time. Do you think it was right for them to cut off a man who had sex with a woman who was menstruating? Do you think that was a right thing for them to do?
I mean, if it was ordained, sanctioned by God, then
So
sure.
that's your view. So do you believe it was correct to stone people who have a divorce? You think that was a right thing to do?
Stone people who have a divorce.
Yeah.
That's not. I don't think that's in the Mosaic
You
law.
don't think it's in the Mosaic laws? Interesting. Do you think it was correct for them to shun people who ate shellfish for up to 2 weeks from entering the temple because they were unclean? Do you think that was the right thing for them to do?
Yeah, God has had a greater purpose for having these dietary laws.
So do you believe it was
Right.
right for them to do that?
But you know that Christians, we don't follow the Mosaic law.
No, I
It's
don't.
been done
But
away
it's
with.
your
We're under
God.
this
I'm
new
asking about the.
covenant.
I don't care what you do, really, Jamal. I really don't care what you do or eat. I'm asking about the reasonableness and morality of your God. It's the
Yeah,
same.
so
It's the
the
same
reason
God, right? Same.
the reason why
And your God is
had these
unchanging, right?
okay, the reason why God had these laws and ordinances is because He wanted to have the Israelites to be separate from the nations around them. He wanted them to be peculiar and different, right?
So do you think when
To
God
show that,
said, do you
yeah.
think that
So He
God?
had a greater purpose for these things, right? But Christians, we don't follow the Mosaic law, right?
How many times? How
Jesus,
many times do you want to say
taught.
that? I'm aware
Jesus
you don't
taught.
follow.
Hold
I'm
on, hold on, hold
aware
on.
you don't follow the Mosaic laws. I don't
Je-
care what you follow. You
I'm just
still.
telling you. I'm just giving you
Do you want to? Okay,
Bible
if you want,
theology.
if you
I'm
want,
giving you.
I'm aware. Do you want to say something I don't know? I swear to God,
Okay, so why are
I
you
will like
bringing it
have
up?
I will have a shot of apple cider vinegar or something if you say something that I don't know. I could probably predict your next like 3 sentences.
So why did you bring it up? It's irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant because it's your God.
Yes, and
So your God was righteous in setting down these laws, correct?
yes.
Okay, so even if you don't believe they apply to you, which correct, a real reading of these laws would mean they do not apply to you. I agree. Okay. We can have some biblical interpretation as to whether or not Christians should follow them anyway, because they're set down by God anyway. And like there was some affirmation of at least the basic covenants that the Israelites made with God, right? The Ten Commandments was reaffirmed in the New Testament, for example. But that's not my question, Jamal. My question is whether he was righteous in setting these down in the first place. So
I
for
said yes.
okay, so do you think he was
where do
righteous?
we go from here? So where
Okay,
do we go
I'm
from
just I
here?
just want to run through a few things. Jamal, do you think slavery is bad?
In most cases, yeah.
Do you think that raping a slave is bad?
Yes.
So what do you think the punishment should be for SAing a slave?
I think it should be death.
So you don't think that it was enough that if a man had intercourse with a slave girl whose freedom had never been purchased, but who is committed to another man's wife, he must pay full compensation to her master. But since she is not a free woman, neither the man nor the woman will be put to death. Do you think that that was a righteous punishment for God to set down for the Israelites?
Yeah, so the laws under the Mosaic law weren't of God's ideal, right? He lowered the standards because their hearts were hardened, right? And we know this because Jesus said that Moses gave a certificate of divorce when it wasn't God's ideal. God, or Jesus, right? He set the standards to God's ideal. He was like, hey, God gave you, or Moses gave you a certificate of divorce because your hearts were hardened. But that wasn't how God made it in the beginning. In the beginning, he made them male and female, and he said that marriage is something that should be permanent, right? Like,
So you think that
whoever-
this was acceptable in this case for the Israelites to act this way?
It wasn't like the things that were allowed under the Mosaic law. Like a lot of it was not God's ideal.
So
like
God allowed
God
for
had like a lower standard for them because their hearts are very hardened. And when Jesus came along, Jesus was like, he was like, hey, You know it says in your law, but I tell you. Like, he set the standards like way higher. He's like, but I tell you. Right?
Were their hearts not hardened at that point?
Yeah, well, when Jesus came, he came to set the standards higher.
Okay, wait, but you're saying
under this new covenant, when you turn to Christ, right, he gives you a new heart, so you can follow these. It'll help you to follow these higher standards.
Okay, and God couldn't offer that same covenant to the Israelites?
Excuse me?
And God couldn't do that exact same thing to the Israelites. Instead, he allowed them to have his tacit support. Actually, his explicit support. He said, this is what should be done. This is what you shall do. And then you will be clean and accepted into my temple. So he set the standards, and he supported it. And he very well could have said that we should put to death any man who, like, there's no reason that you would have a hard time not killing a person who has sex with a slave girl whose freedom had been purchased, but not whose freedom hadn't been purchased. Like,
I believe in Deuteronomy chapter 22, it does read that if you do that to, like, a woman, you are to be unalived.
Yeah, but under Leviticus, it explicitly says they should not be. But since she is not a free woman, neither the man nor the woman will be put to death.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that God, the all-powerful, right, all-knowing, eternally good, and never bad, right? He cannot do evil. He's the opposite of sin. You believe that the way that he was good was by supporting and accepting sin and explicitly not punishing sinners in the way that he was very able to in other passages. If we accept that slavery bad, right? He said, well, because they were a slave, you don't actually have to put them to death. Because you're saying, let me see if I understand your argument correctly. You're saying he did this because their hearts were hardened. And then Jesus, also God, didn't have to do this because he gave them, quote, a new heart, and now they can follow the covenant better. Is there a real, actual reason God could not have done that in the time of the Israelites?
Could not have it done what?
Offered up a new heart, or offered up an actual solution to soften their hearts to allow them to follow the actual laws.
Well, Jesus was not sent at that time, right?
But God was capable of doing so.
God did it. God did his thing in his own timing, right?
But do you think... so he allowed people to sin and actually supported them.
Well, yeah, of course.
He said, you said it is acceptable for you to sin, and it will be accepted.
So, no, it's not saying that God is accepting of sin.
If I accept you into my temple, if I say you are...
Hold on, let me respond to what you just said. God allows us to exercise our free will, right? Even from the Garden of Eden,
he doesn't have to accept you into your temple.
He allowed Adam and Eve to sin. So yes, of course God allows people to sin.
I mean, this doesn't look very free willy. So do not see like this. Like if you read Leviticus, he's giving down commandments, okay, and then he's saying, do not do these things. You must obey. Like this is a direct quote. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against a fellow Israelite, but love thy neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. You must obey all my decrees.
Yeah, and also the purpose of the Mosaic Law was to show people that they are sinners, and that's why we need Jesus Christ for salvation, because it's kind of like a mirror.
Why could he not say?
Right, the law
why could one of his decrees not be don't have slaves?
And that's why you need salvation in Jesus Christ. That's another purpose of the law.
But okay, so like he sets down, do not mate two different kinds of animals, do not plant your fields with two different kinds of seeds. But hey, also guys, slavery, raping a slave isn't bad enough to put you to death.
No, that's listen, God is against the R word, and the Bible actually condemns
He's not against it that
trading.
much, though. I mean,
God condemned slave trading. You can read that in 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 10.
But is that old or new?
What?
Is that old or new?
And the Bible?
Is that old or new?
That's in the New Testament.
Okay, so where in the Old Testament did he condemn slavery?
Well, it condemns certain kinds of slavery.
Certain kinds, but he actively allowed others.
Well,
he explicitly said, hey, if she's a slave girl, right, and you're treating her in this, and this way, right? You can rape her, and all you have to do is pay money.
So, again, God allowed slavery, but it's not like he like approves of it.
But if
right?
I let you
God-
off,
God-
if
God
I let
allowed
you off,
slavery-
if
wait,
I
wait,
let
hold
you
on,
off,
hold
if
on.
I say, hey,
God
guys,
allowed slavery for the Hebrews. They were enslaved for over 400 years by the Egyptians.
does
right?
that mean
But
that they get
God
it back?
allowed
Like,
that
I don't
to
know what you're
happen
talking
for His
about. Like, and
greater
they condemned the slavery of the Egyptians. But I'm asking you, right? If I let you off if I'm like, hey guys, I don't love slavery, but also I don't like SA. But hear me out. If you SA a slave girl, obviously I don't like that she's a slave girl, but like you have like you don't get put to death. That looks a lot like me saying you get less of a punishment because they are a slave. And when you get less of a punishment, hear me out, that's a reward. So I'm rewarding you for that person being a slave. That looks a lot like support for slavery.
No, and by the way, like in most cases, I believe this was like indentured servitude. This wasn't like chattel slavery has.
Do you think the
in
form of
America.
slavery do you think the form of slavery described by the Mosaic laws in the Old Testament is acceptable today?
No, I don't.
Okay, don't defend it then, Jamal.
I'm not defending
You did.
it.
You
I'm
said
just saying-
I don't care if it's
No,
like chattel slavery. I don't care if it's like indentured servitude. It's bad. Both you and I agree that it's bad.
Hold on. Jesus emphasized love, right? What is the second greatest commandment? Do you know that? Do you know what the second greatest commandment is? Let me tell you what it is.
According
It is
to whom?
treat
Give me a
others
citation.
as the way you want to be treated. Love others as you love yourself.
Give me a
right?
Bible verse.
That is the second greatest commandment.
Bible
right?
verse.
That is the second
Bible
greatest
verse.
commandment that Jesus
Bible
taught.
verse.
Right?
Where does it say it's the second greatest?
Oh, you didn't know this? Okay.
Where does it say? Where does it say it?
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Give me a second.
You don't know this is the most important book in your life.
Yeah, so you can read this. You can read this in Matthew chapter 22.
Matthew chapter 22. Where?
Verse 36 through 40.
Verse 36 through 40.
Yeah, I want you to read it out loud.
Great.
It will be pretty cool to hear Will recite the Bible. Go ahead.
Yeah, teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law? Jesus replied, love the Lord with all your heart and with all your soul and all your mind. Then this is the first and greatest commandment. The second greatest is love thy neighbor as yourself. Cool.
There you go. So
I don't care. I mean, it doesn't.
That commandment, right, condemns slavery, right?
But it came after. It came after the Old Testament. I'm not talking about that. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that Jesus condemned slavery. I don't doubt that.
Okay, so what's your issue?
My issue is there was a time where Jesus wasn't there, bro. And God allowed, through his support, behind people enslaving others. Really clearly. So he had the balls, he had the power to say, hey guys, don't sow two different types of crops in one field. Which actually is really important. If you look at how crop rotation works, that's a stupid thing to do. That's a really materially bad. That is a materially bad policy, right? Or don't breed two different kinds of animals. Don't make donkeys, right? That is a materially stupid commandment. So he was willing to do.
Donkeys infertile?
Yeah, but they're helpfully infertile. So, for example, you won't get they're naturally fixed. They're stronger than the average one. There are reasons we breed donkeys. There are good reasons we do for pack carrying. There are a good mix of the two. There's a reason we do it. It's a materially bad commandment that materially hurts the Israeli people. But he wasn't willing. He was like, okay, I'll hurt you this way.
Okay.
I'll hurt you this way. I'll prove me like this. But guys, hear me out. I'm not willing to say that slave girls have the equal right to not get raped. They do have some right, but we don't have to pay them. We don't have to help this slave girl. We have to pay their master. We don't even get to kill the person that SA'd them, right? We just have to pay the master compensation. You can see how it's not compelling to me, Jamal, that this God really put his all into hating slavery, when he was willing to do a lot of really stupid shit in Leviticus. Let's all be real. A lot of it's like really
Okay, can
fucking
we not
dumb.
use foul language here? And
What?
Again,
Oh, sorry.
the
He was
Bible
really he was
condemns-
willing to do a lot of stupid-ish, but he
The Bible
wasn't willing.
condemns
He
slave
wasn't
trading.
willing to fully condemn slavery and condemn those that essayed slaves. So
So wait, where in the Bible does it read? Like, he gave me the book, chapter and verse where it reads that you can essay anyone.
I didn't say you could essay anyone. What I said was
Okay.
that you don't have to kill them. If a man, so this is Leviticus 19:20. If a man has sex with a slave girl whose freedom has never been purchased, but who is committed to become another man's wife, he must pay full compensation to her master. But since she is not a free woman, neither the man nor the woman will be put to death. The man, however, must bring a ram as a guilt offering and present it to the Lord at the entrance of the tabernacle. The priest will then purify him before the Lord with the ram of the guilt
So wait a
offering,
minute.
and the
It reads-
man's sin will be forgiven. So
Yeah,
that
but
is
it
not
reads here-
saying.
wait,
Oh, sorry,
wait,
sorry,
hold on.
sorry.
It reads
That
here-
is not
it reads
saying.
here-
That is not saying
Wait, Will,
that
Will,
that is
Will.
bad.
Will.
That is not saying I'm lowering my standards. What it's saying
Hey, Will.
is if you do this thing right,
There should be
otherwise
a
you would have to be
punishment.
killed. We're
There
going.
should be a punishment. That's what
But
it
it's a
reads here.
lower punishment than if you raped a free
Okay,
woman.
Okay, it doesn't fit your level of punishment. So
No, it doesn't
you
fit
have a
God's
gripe with
level of
God.
punishment.
So you have a gripe with God because it's not severe enough. The
Why
punishment.
does he think that raping slave women is better than raping free women?
Well, I don't know. I have to look more into this, but there is a.
Doesn't that seem harmful? That is a double standard. God is saying, "Hey, you can offer a bull, and I will forgive you if it is a
But wait,
I will forgive you if it is a slave woman, but if it is a free woman, right? Then you have to be put to death."
Wait, where does it read where you have to be put to death if it's a free woman?
I mean, I can get the verse up, but it explicitly excludes it.
No, because in Deuteronomy chapter 22, it does read that if you do R word, just a woman, you are to be put to death. So
Yeah. And then this says explicitly that you will not be put to death in this specific case. So the Bible sets out a general, says, okay, generally if you essay a woman, especially a free woman.
and it doesn't even read essay here.
Yeah, it's just sleeping with one.
So it doesn't even read that.
Deuteronomy. If a man is found to be sleeping with another man's wife, both the man slept with the wife and the woman must die. This doesn't say essay either. This says found to be sleeping with another woman's wife. Okay, so this is, if a man is be found to be sleeping with another man's wife, both the man slept with and the woman must die. So this is about a man's wife. This is about a slave woman who is set to be a man's wife. So if it is set to be a man's wife, all you have to do is pay the man, not the woman, pay the man, and provide a bull to the temple, and you will be forgiven. But if it is
But
a man,
it doesn't read anything about essay.
okay, has intercourse with. Why is it worse?
Okay.
Okay,
Alright,
cool.
so
But I mean,
why did you say he was essay?
because that's the assumption when it's another man's wife. That's the whole
Well,
point
that's
of
your
this.
assumption.
I mean, it's okay. Why would killing Okay, so you think this is an anti-infidelity clause?
Most likely. I don't know. I have to
You think
read over it
think
again.
God wanted to put cheaters to death?
Yeah, God hates adultery or hates infidelity for sure.
Oh, actually, there is a clause in rape here. Only the man if out in the country a man happens to meet a young woman pledged to be married and rapes her, only the man has done this shall die.
Amen. There you go. Do you agree with that?
I don't believe in the death penalty.
Okay. Well, I think most people would agree with that's okay to to unalive an R worder.
I unilaterally don't agree with the death penalty.
Sure, that's
But
fair.
this
That's
is
fair. I'm not
clearly
gonna argue against
clearly
that.
a double standard for slaves.
Oh my god!
You're right.
Bro,
Why?
this is,
Why? Why
so,
not? Why
this
not?
is so way off topic. Why did you go
It's off
this
topic
direction?
that I think slavery is bad, and the Hebrew God doesn't.
The
seem...
Bible condemns slavery, bro, or slave trading at least, right? 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 10, it reads that those who are slave traders will not inherit the kingdom of God. And also, you can read the letter from Paul.
Where does it condemn slavery overall?
Slave trading, right?
A slave trade.
And
Where
then-
does it condemn holding someone as a slave, though?
Well, in the letter of Paul, and
Letter to Paul or letter to Paul?
Thalman 16. It reads that
Thalman?
Paul, or Philemon, however you pronounce it.
Spell that for
Paul,
me. Spell that for me.
Yeah, Philemon. It reads in verse 16 that Paul was
MON.
Yes.
Which verse?
verse 16.
Verse 16.
Yeah.
okay.
Paul was appealing to a slaveholder to not treat his slave like a slave, but treat him as a brother in Christ. Right? So that was kind of like a veiled way of saying, hey,
God never
God
never condemned slavery.
Set this guy free, bruh.
But he never condemned slavery. Just this slave.
Not explicitly, but
so God
did.
seemed to say, okay, you can have sex with a slave, and all you have to do is pay a slave girl. But if you have sex with a virgin, you gotta be killed.
No, wait, Will. The second greatest commandment. What is it? Love others as you love yourself. Treat others
love thy neighbor.
the way you
But look
want
at this.
to be treated,
Wait, sorry. But...
AKA the golden rule, right? So under that law, right, it condemns slavery because no one wants to be treated like a slave, right? Right? Well,
1 second. Like,
right?
But this isn't. They didn't consider themselves their neighbor. So love thy neighbor appears in Corinthians as well. Where is it?
Jesus.
I'm talking about the fucking Old Testament, bro.
Hold on. Jesus gave the parable of the Good Samaritan, saying like, "Hey, your neighbor is just not one who is of your ethnicity, right? There are people."
Yeah, because he developed from the Old Testament.
Your neighbor. What?
Because he developed from the Old Testament. Because that was a change from the Old Testament. Because that was not the law in the Old Testament.
Yeah, that proves my point that Jesus set the standards higher. He gave a higher moral standard.
Very cool.
Because
so you can recognize. I know. So Jamal, you can say, okay, Jesus said some things that could be interpreted as being against slavery. Okay.
Well, it actually is.
That's your argument. That's a fair way to interpret it. I don't, Jamal. So the thing is if you really loved me as I love myself, or if you treated me how I wanted to be treated, you would leave me and everyone like me the fuck alone. So you're not against you. What? You're coming on here and speaking homophobic bullshit, right?
Wait. What do I say that's homophobic? Like what?
You just want to run away from this conversation.
All I say,
you know what I mean. If you're saying, right, love your neighbor as yourself, obviously I'm telling you what you do makes me uncomfortable. What you do is, not appreciated by me. I don't want you to continue doing it. You would stop doing it. You're not actually living this out. But second of all, Jamal, do you recognize that in the Old Testament, when the Lord was setting down, love your neighbor as yourself, he was referencing fellow Israelites, not people outside of the Israelite community.
Okay, yeah, when Jesus came along, he clarified that, and he
wasn't clarifying. It's no clarification.
It's not just people of your ethnicity.
There's no clarification here. Originally, in the Old Testament, what did
the Good Samaritan? Read the parable.
It's not a clarification.
It is a clarification, and he set the standards higher. He's saying like,
so
hey,
is it a clarification or a change? Is it a clarification
ethnicity.
or is it a change?
I mean, I guess you could call it both. It's both, right?
No, you don't know. You either clarify it or you change it. When the Lord came down in fucking talking Leviticus, right? And Moses read off what the Lord told him. Did he mean by love your neighbor? Did he mean the fellow Israelite or did he mean everyone? Which did he mean?
I believe he meant everyone.
Okay, then you haven't read the fucking Bible. Leviticus 19:18. Do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against your fellow Israelite, but love your neighbor as yourself. Clearly regarding fellow Israelite. In like one breath and then the next. Right? He says, do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against a fellow Israelite, but love your neighbor as yourself. Fellow Israelite, love your neighbor. Right. They're right next to each other because he only says do not seek revenge or bear a grudge against a fellow Israelite, but love your neighbor as yourself. It is in the same sentence, in the same breath. Clearly he was referring to fellow Israelites. That's obvious. That's stupidly obvious, Jamal. Everyone knows that.
Okay,
And
so
you read this.
also, hold on. Also read Leviticus chapter 19, verse 34.
Great, I have it up. Verse 34.
Yeah, read it out loud.
Do not, verse 34. Treat them like native-born Israel. Oh, wait. Do not take advantage of, so I'll start with 33 because that's where the quote starts. Do not take advantage of foreigners who live among you in your land. Treat them like native-born Israelites and love them as yourself.
Ooh!
Sorry.
Read that again.
Do not take advantage of foreigners who live among you in your land.
Love them as yourself.
Is that everyone?
Love them as yourself.
Is that everyone?
Love them as yourself.
Is that everyone, Jamal?
But these are foreigners. These are
But
people
is that everyone?
Not of their ethnicity.
Is that, like, for example, the Good Samaritan?
Oh my goodness!
Would that apply to the Samaritans? No, they were in Samaria.
Here, man. You're splitting hairs.
I'm not. It's
Yes, you
take
are.
advantage of.
You're
There is a qualifying clause here of foreigners who live among you in your land. The Good Samaritan was a Samaritan in Sumeria.
Okay, read Exodus chapter 22, verse 21.
22 chapter 22
verse 21.
You shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien, for you were aliens. A resident alien.
Okay, and also
that is a foreigner in your land, exactly like I just said.
Okay, well.
That is exactly what I just said, Jamal.
Like to split hairs. Read Deuteronomy chapter 10.
Wait, 1 second. I'm gonna stop you there. We need to discuss the ones you've provided thus far.
Okay. I got you.
Okay.
Read
No, Jamal. No. Let's discuss what you've provided thus far. I'm not gonna let you kind of wiggle around this. Are all people foreigners who live amongst you in your land?
No, but you're splitting hairs. But that's fine.
What do you mean splitting hairs? So it was for the
reads,
parable. No.
Oh my God.
So for the parable of the Good Samaritan, was that a foreigner living in their land?
It's not very clear.
No, it wasn't. It was in Samaria.
Yeah,
so that's not a foreigner living in your land.
Wait, Samaria is like outside of Israel, I believe.
Yeah, it's not their land.
It's not in their land, right?
So it's not a foreigner living among you in your land.
Yeah, so that proves my point.
Exactly. So Jesus changed the law.
He changed. Well, actually no, because in Deuteronomy 10:19 it reads here, and you are to love those who are foreigners, for you yourselves are foreigners in Egypt.
10:19.
So we are to love foreigners. That's 19. In Deuteronomy 10:19.
Love the sojourner. What does this word mean? A temporary resident. It's not voyagers. It's a temporary resident.
It says foreigner.
Where? What? I'm reading just literally the first thing that came up. So the Bible NIV says foreigners, but this one says sojourner, which is a temporary resident, which would be in line with everything else. Let's look at the context of
someone. Okay, but someone who's just like passing along. All right, it could be that. All right.
Yes, that's my. That's not the fucking. That is not the Good Samaritan. Those are different things. That is a temporary resident. That is a person passing through your land. That is a person passing through your land.
Or someone. I don't even know what you're trying to argue now, right? All I'm saying is, right, when Jesus said to love your neighbor, right, it's just not someone of your own ethnicity, not from someone from your own land.
But
right?
No, the point was that you, even in foreign lands, right, you should hold this principle. He extended the principle. Every single one. So this is really annoying when you do this, is you've cited like 5 different things. Luckily, they all say the exact fucking same thing, right? Do not take advantage of foreigners who live among your land. Respect the sojourner, which is a temporary resident of your land, right? Where was the other citation you provided?
What, Deuteronomy 10:19?
You shall not wrong or oppress a resident alien. That would be a person that lives in your land who is not from your land. These are all saying the same thing. These are not, so you are correct in saying that Jesus extended this principle. You are not correct in saying he clarified the principle. There was, in fact, a difference between the principles. Okay? And I don't know why you're intent on saying they clarified it. Jesus expanded these principles. Clearly. He clearly expanded the principles.
Listen, bro, when I'm reading Deuteronomy 10:19, it reads to me that God is saying, hey, you should love people that are not of your little group. Love people that are outside of your group, right? And to me, Jesus clarified, like, hey, who is your neighbor? It's not just another Jew, right? But it is people that are not Jews, right? It could be Gentiles, or it could be people who are mixed Jews and Gentiles, as the Samaritans were, right? That was just Jesus saying, like, hey, love all people, right? And given the whole context of that whole sermon, right? Jesus said, like, to pray for your enemies, to turn the other cheek, pray for those who persecute you. He's saying, like, hey, don't, like, treat people who treat you badly, don't treat them badly because they treat you badly. Like, love on them, pray for them, go the extra mile for them, right? So Jesus is saying, like, hey, have love for everyone, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of how they treat you, right? So when you come along, when you say, like, oh, you're treating us bad, you're person.
No, so
Christians are not doing that. All we're saying is, like, hey, what you're involved in is a sin. We love you. We care about you, and we want you guys to repent and turn to Jesus for salvation because we care about your soul. We're not trying to oppress you,
Jamal.
Will.
Have you read?
We don't hate you, Will.
Jamal, have you read the full sermon?
Of course, I've read it like
110,000 times. So we're gonna start Deuteronomy 10:18. Right before he defends.
Wait! What? Wait! Are you talking about that Sermon on the Mount?
I'm talking about Deuteronomy. What we're reading. So
okay,
I'm not talking about what Jesus. I'm not talking about what Jesus said. We're talking about the Old Testament.
Okay, so why are you sticking to the Old Testament?
As I've said this whole entire time, my point is about the Old Testament, and you keep
But this is not a good point.
Shush. You clearly understand that.
You shushing me my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
you need to be able to have a conversation.
You're pretty rude.
I am. You don't deserve respect, Jamal.
Why? What I do to you to make you so angry towards me?
I mean, you're a hateful, horrendous person. So what you're saying about Deuteronomy?
What did I say that was hateful? Hold on, you made an extraordinary.
You asked a question. I answered the question. I'd like to continue making my point.
Well, what did I do?
I didn't make a claim. I answered your question. Are you able to have a conversation with me, Jamal?
Yeah, but you
then
said
act
I was
like
hateful.
it. Allow me to speak.
Okay, can you back up your claim that I'm hateful?
Well, after I make my point, I'm happy to.
Listen, you just can't, like, say someone is hateful.
You asked me a question. I didn't. You asked me a question. I answered it, trying to get to my point. Can I make the point?
Yeah, after you explained to me, like,
why? Wait, why? You asked me a question. Why am I going to continue answer? I already answered your question.
You
interrupted me. You compared me loving my boyfriend and, like, caring about him, engaging in sexual acts with him to bestiality. That's fucking disgusting.
Insofar that it's something that's prohibited by God.
Yeah, the comparison on face is despicable.
Well, like how?
Can I make my point?
Both are prohibited by God.
You disagree. You're always going to disagree with that with your head. Can I make my point, Jamal? Jamal, can I please just make my fucking point?
Can you not drop F-bombs? I would appreciate that.
Can you just let me make my point?
Go ahead.
It shouldn't be that difficult, right? I think comments said you were 43. I expect you to act like it, right? So, as I was saying, in the Old Testament, the defense is not to foreigners that live, like, in foreign countries. By and large, it seems to be foreigners that live in their own lands. Okay, he defends the cause of the fatherlessness and the widow and loves the foreigners residing among you, giving them food and clothing. And you are to love those who are foreigners, for you were foreigners in Egypt, right? So he did this, referencing the foreigners residing among you, and you are to love those foreigners, for you were foreigners when you were in Egypt. So one second, can I finish, Jamal?
I don't know where you're going with this.
Can you be quiet? You will know what, because I haven't gotten anywhere.
Yeah, because
Do you have
all your
difficulty
points,
controlling
all your
yourself? Is
points
this
that
a
fell
self-control
flat.
thing? Do you need Vyvanse? Like, I
Well,
don't know what this difficulty is.
well, you've been talking most
Allow
of
me
the
to
time
make
with
my
our
point.
interaction,
Allow me to make my point.
and all your points that just fell flat. But go ahead.
Okay, so every single citation, I think you've now given me 5 or 6 different citations that have said the exact same thing, right? And actually, props to the Bible for being extraordinarily consistent. The love your neighbor as thyself considers neighbors to be people living within your land and has had to work especially hard to make sure that it's very clear that those are foreigners living in your land. When you're talking about the Good Samaritan was correctly expanding that concept to everyone in the whole world. All of humanity are your brotherhood, right? Expanding it to everyone. Clearly, the Old Testament was talking about a tribal understanding, right? They were saying, look, you're Israelites, you have to act in this way. And that doesn't extend to people living outside of Israel. It extends to foreigners living within Israel, blah, blah, blah.
That's not true.
Okay, cool, Jamal. Just, actually be quiet. So, you've cited me 6 things. Every single one of them has agreed with what I've said. So, your evidence, the best evidence that you have conceivably brought up, proves precisely what I'm saying. I don't really care to get more evidence from you because we've wasted a lot of time going through your mythological book trying to find yourself evidence. Okay? And it has all proven you completely incorrect. So, I don't know why you waste your time on here. But also, okay, do we want to have the discussion on why I think you're hateful? Because I've said it multiple times. There was no reason to interrupt me, right? To ask me to repeat the same accusations that I've made against you for, I think, 2 or 3 years now, Jamal. Right? Of course I think you're hateful. You know precisely why I think you're hateful. You did that literally just so you had an excuse to interrupt me.
Yeah, I'm not hateful, all right? And no Christian is hateful for calling out sin. If you're offended that a Christian says that what you're doing, the act that you're doing is sinful, if you're offended by that and you want to label the Christian hateful, then that's on you. But it's not hateful to call out sin. I think adultery is sin, right? Am I hateful towards adulterers for saying that they're sinners, for practicing adultery? I think fornication is sin. Am I hateful towards fornicators for practicing fornication? No. I'm just saying, hey, what you're doing is a sin. It goes against the will of God, and you need to repent and turn to Jesus for salvation.
Do you have an intense dislike for sinners? Do you have an intense dislike for sin?
I never said I had a dislike for sin.
Do you have an intense dislike for...
I have a dislike or hate sin, yes. When you become a Christian, you start to develop a hate for sin. God will put that in your heart.
Okay, so you do hate sin.
Because sin is harmful towards yourself, towards others, and it grieves the heart of God.
So do you think that my actions are a part of my identity?
I don't see how your actions could be part of your identity.
Jamal, is praying part of how you identify yourself?
That's not part of my identity. It's just something I do.
It's just something you do. Okay, are you married, Jamal?
Not yet.
Not yet. Intriguing. So, do you not think that, your love for Jesus and for God is, an action as well? Do you think, do you consider, your preaching and your love for Jesus as part of your identity?
No, I just think it's something that I do. I think my identity is found in Jesus Christ.
What does that mean?
That when I live for Him, right? Who I am, right, is because of Jesus Christ, because He changed me from the inside out.
But what is who you are? Part of my identity is I consider myself a very good analytical thinker. And so if you attacked and hated or harmed that conception of myself, you would be harming a portion of my identity and me, right? So at some point, or I am a gay man, I consider that part of my identity. It's intrinsic to who I am and how I view myself. And so at some point, my characteristics, my ideas, my ideology becomes core to who I am and myself, and it's very difficult to detach those two things. So I'm trying to kind of push at you to understand this concept that certain parts of people become intertwined with who they are and what they do and how they consider themselves.
Okay.
And so do you disagree with that conception of how identity works?
So okay, that gives me a clarification, and I understand that when Christians say, "Hey, what you're doing is a sin," it can make you feel hurt, maybe.
No, let's not focus on the feelings. I want you to understand, like, you oftentimes, y'all hide behind, first of all, this is like, oh, you just feel hurt. It's nothing. I'm not hurt by you, Jamal. I really don't give a shit what you're saying, right? I know you're just an asshole. Because other people.
It sounds like you do care, though.
I care for the 13-year-old who's struggling with their sexuality as they like have new feelings, and listen to you and your bullshit and realize that there's hate in this world that they will have to deal with.
What I'm doing, hold on, Will. Well, all I'm doing is just reciting the Bible. I'm not saying like, hey.
Okay, and I could recite.
I hate you. I'm not saying anything like that.
If I recited
right? I never said anything of the sort.
But if I said,
I've never used slurs, right? I've never like denigrated anyone or said that
the Bible is denigrating to people.
No. The Bible
but also,
reads
the
that
fact
you
that you're
are made in God's image. The Bible reads that God loves you and cares about you. But
Jamal,
there's an issue that you have, and that's called sin. It's called sin, and you need the cure. You need Jesus Christ.
Jamal, the fact that you're reciting something is no defense. I don't really care that you're reciting something. I could be reciting Mein Kampf and it would still be hateful. Like, it's nothing to do with reciting.
Goodness.
Just like take 2 seconds to critically think if anything you're saying matters. So I'm talking about identity. Is like, okay, so you hate sin, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think at some point hating sin and a person's actions and a person's something that becomes integral to a person, hating that part of them becomes part of hating them? Do you see how I'm moving?
No, it does not. It does not. So
okay,
like,
so if I hate Christianity, right? Would you consider that me hating you?
No.
When I attack Christianity and you call me Christophobic, right? Christophobic literally means like by your description, a prejudice or hate towards Christians. All I have an issue with is Christianity. Am I Christophobic?
Well, you already admitted that you do have a problem with Christians, right?
I have a problem with them. Do you have a problem with sinners?
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
No,
but
not so much
intriguing. I don't hate Christians, right? I just have a problem with them. By your argument.
You have a problem with them because they're against a practice that you hold close to you and that you love.
But I'm trying to
right?
understand what your concept of identity is here, if not what you believe, what is important to you, what your values are, right? How you act, your actions, your care, etc. towards other people. Like, that's how I would identify with, like, what it means to be Will is to, like, be a caring, loving person that doesn't come on the internet and spew bullshit.
I just think you need to stop being so fragile about Christians, calling out sin, right?
I'm
just
not
stop being
fragile.
fragile about that, right?
If I was fragile, would I come on here and talk to you?
I see a lot of people on TikTok attack Jesus all the time, right?
Who deserves it?
It is what it is, right? It is what it is. Am I offended by it? Sometimes, but
he's
now it's just like,
you can be offended.
It is what it is, right?
He's an easy target hanging up there. I really like it.
See what I mean? There's a little jab there, right?
It's not a jab. He was in fact crucified. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just that you love your sin and you don't want to like acknowledge that it is a sin, and well, that's on you. You will be judged if you continue to live in sin and continue to reject the Lord Jesus Christ.
Exactly, but I want you
your
to take ownership
Redeemer.
for the harm that you caused. That's all I'm asking.
That,
really, that's all I've ever asked of you.
At least someone loved on you to give you the truth, but you
all
reject the truth.
All I'm asking of you is that you take ownership for the harm that you caused, Jamal. And I don't see that.
I have not caused any harm. You're just
Okay.
exaggerating. This is an exaggeration. Okay,
Jamal, do you think that
I do not cause harm to anyone on this app? Okay, listen, anything like someone says against me, like anything that anyone has on me, right, is usually just like, oh, you say that's a sin. Oh, you say you're gonna go to hell to people if they don't turn to Jesus. That's all anyone has on me, really, on this app.
So Jamal.
But this is what the Bible reads.
So Jamal.
Yes.
Do you think like there are like there are 14 and 15-year-olds on this app? We all know that.
Sure.
Do you think when they hear you say that yes, homosexuality and bestiality are similar, right? You did say that.
They're both similar insofar that you're using your body.
I get. You don't have to repeat yourself.
God did not design
you don't
your
have
body
to repeat
be
yourself.
used in such a way.
I heard you every time you said it.
So,
But you
okay.
don't. Do you have to interrupt me to repeat yourself?
Just for people in the chat.
So you're not
just for
speaking to me. You're
clarification for
speaking
them.
to. Okay. Could you speak to me?
Yeah, well, because we have an audience here, and I want people to understand like what my position is.
They did. You've repeated it 4 times.
Well, there's some new people that drop in. Okay.
Okay. So when they hear you say that, right? And then they understand it to say, "Damn, I think people that do bestiality is fucking gross. Like, I don't like those people." Right? They don't have to have the same ideology as you, Jamal. Even if you consider yourself like a highly developed person who doesn't have hate and just has love for sinners. Not everyone has that, right? So when you say this and you say, yeah, they fall in the same class, I'm going to compare them. Do you think that maybe, I think a lot of hate towards bestiality, like people doing bestiality, is probably justified, right? And so do a lot of people. So a lot of people have a lot of hate towards people that do bestiality.
I don't. Well, you said the act or the person towards the person that
the
practices?
person. And I'm not saying you do. I'm saying a lot of people.
Well,
do you recognize that a lot of people would hate a person that engages in bestiality?
I don't know.
You don't know.
To tell you the truth, I really don't know.
Have you spoken to humans on this earth?
Most people think it's disgusting for sure.
And do you think that causes dislike towards the person?
I don't know. I don't.
Are you stupid?
I really don't know. I really don't know. I think most
Are you
people
really
would
going to
think
claim ignorance
that
here?
person to engage in something like that is probably like sick in the head for sure.
Do you think people that people consider sick in the head like get negative reactions, get harm from that?
People who are sick in the head
or are considered to be sick in the head maybe get negative reactions from that? Or harm or ostracized?
Maybe not. I don't know.
Do you want to try that answer again, Jamal? Do you think
I just don't know.
Do you think like if I think you're sick in the head, I'm gonna treat you like with the same amount of dignity and respect on average? Like, do you think like most people?
I mean, listen. I see people like walking down the street screaming at the air. Right? I think they're.
Do you think that they are in society actually in reality treated?
Right? But I'm not gonna like treat them like differently from any other person.
But do you think they're actually in reality treated the same?
I think they're still made in God's image.
I think that's great for you, Jamal. I'm talking about reality in society. And in reality in society, do you think they are treated the same?
Do I think they're treated the same?
No, treated the same. Treated the same.
I don't know. I don't know. Where are you going with all these lines of
You don't know?
These lines of questions?
Wait, Jamal, you don't know?
Yes, I don't know.
Okay. I mean, you're just a fucking liar. I always forget that this is where
Oh my God. See, Will, can you not drop F-bombs?
Yeah.
I don't even know where you're going with these questions. Like,
Well,
where are you
you
going
don't
with all
have to.
this?
You're just a liar. Obviously, you know. But okay, I'll finish.
How am I lying? I said I don't know.
Because you do know. Like, you do know. But the point is, that's not the point. Okay, I'll finish the line of questioning, then I'll leave because I'm tired of speaking to a liar. The point is when we do this, we in society, in reality, we actually do treat people who we consider to have mental disorders, who we consider to have done evil things, harmful acts, hateful acts, etc. Right? We treat them differently. They face harm, they face hurt, they face punishment, they face reaction. Right? I mean, God in the Old Testament advocated this, etc. And it's a very natural propensity. Let me finish the point. So when you come on here and you say, yeah, they're sinners, etc., and you are redirecting the hate that exists in this world to the 14 or 15-year-old gay guy to hate himself. You're redirecting the hate. True. I mean, you are. That is a very natural thing that's going to happen.
No, that's not true because I come against fornication as well, right? Am I like?
Okay, you're redirecting.
Am I stirring up hatred for fornicators? No. I mean, the vast majority of people practice fornication.
Wait, but you are
and I come
stirring up
against
hatred
it all the time.
You're trying to redirect.
I say like, hey, that's a sin, right? But would you say that I'm like stirring up hatred for people who practice fornication?
By calling it a sin, you're redirecting hate towards it. Yeah, 100%.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm responsible for stirring up hatred.
No, I'm just saying. I just want you
guys.
to recognize the actual
and adulterers as well too, because I come against the sin of adultery too. So I'm stirring up hatred against people. Hatred towards people who practice adultery, according to Will's logic. Fascinating.
Yes, that is an actual consequence of what you are actually doing.
Yeah, and I'm
I mean,
against
if you were a
stealing.
real adult that could engage in real critical thinking, you would recognize that. But I'm gonna leave. It's very, very obvious that you know that, like, there's no difficulty here. In fact, we treat people that we consider to have done bad things or to engage in bad thought patterns or whatever differently, and we direct hatred to them. Even if you yourself don't want to, that is a consequence of your action. Okay? All I'm asking you is to take ownership for the consequences of your actions. You're not. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's some maldevelopment in the prefrontal cortex. I don't know what caused it, but it's not a jab. You're a fucking asshole. Like, there's no jab here.
Well, okay, I still love you,
Bye
bro.
bye.
And I really do hope. Well, okay, I still love you, bro.
Bye-bye.
And I really do hope you repent and turn to Jesus. Have a nice day. And I really do hope you repent and turn to Jesus. Have a nice day. And I really do hope you repent.
Has it ended?
And I really do hope you repent and turn to Jesus. Have a nice day.
Very intriguing. Okay. Okay. Very cool, everyone. I think I'm probably gonna go down to the gym. Ooh. Should I go gym? Oh, guys. I really do hate when Christians, like, try to evangelize towards me. Aw. Wishing him the best. Okay. I'll be on probably later tonight.